Not everyone who says, "I'll pray for you," actually means it. Some of the people closest to you will take the most sacred thing you own, the thing you whispered when you had nothing else left, and turn it into something small, something to gossip about, something to hold over you later. You already know this. You've felt it before, that flicker of hesitation right before you open your mouth to share a burden, wondering if this person can actually be trusted with it. Here's the thing. Discernment isn't distrust of God. It's wisdom about people. So today we're walking through 7 kinds of people you need to be careful with when it comes to your prayer requests, not to make you paranoid, not to make you isolated, but so that by the end of this, you'll know exactly who deserves access to the tender parts of your life and who doesn't. Let's start here. Proverbs 11:13 says, "A gossip betrays a confidence, but a trustworthy person keeps a secret." Notice that word betrays, not shares. Betrays. That's the first person to watch for. The gossip. You've met this person. They ask about your struggles with wide, sympathetic eyes. They nod at all the right moments. And within a week, somehow, 3 other people know the details you thought were just between the 2 of you and God. I once knew someone who shared a private health scare with a friend from her small group, only to have someone she barely spoke to ask about it at church the following Sunday. That's not community. That's leakage. Here's what you need to understand. A gossip doesn't always know they're a gossip. Some of them genuinely think they're sharing so others can pray too. But fruit doesn't lie. If your business keeps ending up in other people's mouths, you found your answer. The second person is the comparer. This is the one who, when you bring them your need, quietly turns it into a competition. You mention you're struggling financially, and somehow the conversation becomes about how much harder their season was. You share a fear about your health, and they respond with their own diagnosis, bigger, scarier, more urgent than yours. Philippians 2 tells us to value others above ourselves. A comparer does the opposite, even inside a prayer request. They can't sit with your pain without making it about their own. Let the next one land carefully, because it might be someone you love. The third person is the fixer who never prays. You know this person by their instant advice. You say, "Please pray for my marriage," and before you've even finished the sentence, they're handing you a 5-step plan. James 1:19 says to be quick to listen, slow to speak. A true intercessor listens first and prays before they ever offer an opinion. If someone can never simply say, "I'm lifting this to God for you," without first trying to solve it themselves, they're not being a bad friend. They're just not the one to carry this particular weight. Now, a quick word of balance here, because I don't want this to sound harsh. Not everyone who gives advice is dangerous. Some of the wisest people you know will speak truth into your prayer requests, and that's a gift. What we're talking about is a pattern. Someone who consistently cannot hold space for you without control. Let's keep going, because the next ones are the ones almost nobody talks about. The fourth person is the spiritually proud one. This is the person who responds to your prayer request with a subtle correction of your faith instead of compassion for your circumstance. You say, "Please pray, I'm scared." And they say something like, "Well, if you had more faith, you wouldn't be." Galatians 6 reminds believers to restore one another gently, not with a spirit of superiority. A person who uses your vulnerability as an opportunity to lecture you isn't shepherding you. They're standing over you. The fifth person is the one who forgets on purpose. You've experienced this. You share something heavy, something that cost you to say out loud, and weeks later it's like it never happened. No follow-up. No. How did that turn out? 1 Thessalonians 5 tells believers to encourage one another and build each other up. That's an ongoing posture, not a one-time reaction. Someone who treats your pain as a passing conversation topic was never truly carrying it with you in the first place. Here's where this starts to get personal. The sixth person is the one who prays out loud for show. You've sat in a room and heard it. The prayer that's really a performance, dressed up in spiritual language, aimed more at impressing the room than reaching heaven. Matthew 6 warns against praying to be seen by others rather than by the Father who sees in secret. If you hand your deepest request to someone like this, don't be surprised when it becomes material for their next public prayer, retold in a way that centers them, not you. And now, the seventh one. This is the one that stings the most, because it isn't someone else. It's you, when you've become someone else's version of all six. Have you gossiped about a request that was whispered to you in confidence? Have you turned someone's pain into a chance to talk about your own? Have you offered advice when what they needed was silence and a bowed head? Before you finish this video, ready to audit everyone around you, sit with this. The standard you're using to judge them is the same standard heaven is using to examine you. I want to be careful here because none of this is meant to leave you afraid of people or afraid of community. God never designed prayer to be a solo act. We're told in Ecclesiastes that two are better than one, and in James, that confession and prayer between believers brings healing. The goal was never isolation. The goal was discernment, learning who has earned the weight of your heart, and slowly, wisely, letting the right people in. And here's the hope underneath all of this. Psalm 34 says, "The Lord is close to the brokenhearted, and he saves those who are crushed in spirit." Even if every person on this list has failed you at some point, even if you've been the one who failed someone else, there is still one who has never once mishandled a prayer request. Not once, not ever. So here's what I want you to sit with before you go. Who in your life right now has actually earned the right to hold your unspoken burdens? And just as importantly, have you become safe enough for someone else to hand theirs to you? If this spoke to something you needed to hear today, tell me in the comments which one of these hit closest to home. If you know someone who needs to hear this, someone who's been burned by sharing their heart with the wrong person, send this to them right now. And if you want more honest, biblical conversations like this one, stay close, subscribe, and walk with us. Until next time, guard your heart, but never stop opening it to the ones who deserve it. Go in peace.